We live in a world of force. We live in a world of people shouting. We live in a world where our attention is always placed on ye who screams the loudest or that which hurts the most. And our bodies are saying, I see you, and there are other choices. And if you'll just listen to the whispers of what I'm showing you, it can be far simpler than you ever imagined to create what you actually would like to have, what you actually would like to have. The last few years for a lot of people have been a total shit show. And I want everybody to know now that we are coming out of it. We are getting to go to the other side of it where, well, we always hoped was possible actually is, because people have been doubling down on the structures that didn't work, because when they don't know what else to do and it seems like total chaos is going on, what people do is they go back to the structure and the order that they learned from the time they were this big. And so what we're able to do now is to go beyond it and actually create our realities. And that definitely applies with our bodies too. But I just wanted to say that because I want all of us crazy weirdos out there to know, no more suffering, kids. Now's our time. So whatever your particular brand of suffering has been in the last few years, you can now come out of it and create everything you're really capable of now. So there.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. Thank you and goodbye. Bye, everyone.
Exactly.
It was so nice.
Done. Bye-bye. Go enjoy your body. Read the little pocket rocket and keep it with you. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for saying that, because it's just recently what happened. We had like a EU Parliament election and also another election in Hungary, and things are changing. And Orban had 3/3 for many, many years, like 12 or so. And this guy just showed up from nothing, and he actually just, committed to change something. And it doesn't matter which side you are in. You don't have to like this guy, but at the same time, it's just fascinating to watch that we had the election. The Orban party got 40% and the guy party got 30%. It was just, what the hell? So things are changing, baby. Also in Hungary.
Right,
Thank
baby.
you.
Things are changing. Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because of your one day being you class. You remember when we were singing the Hungarian, how do you say?
Yeah, the national anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yeah, Hungary likes you.
I
See
like
all of these
Hungary.
people.
Hello.
So we have over almost 3,000 registration for this book club. So we are so grateful.
That's
Thank
so
you.
cool.
Yeah.
I
It's
thank you, and I
amazing.
thank you all, and I thank you and your amazing team for being the powerhouses that create a space where people know they can connect and be contributed to. What a friggin' gift. This is us. This is an us thing, and also the interesting part, and strangely, this also applies to our bodies. I know it's weird. It's almost like consciousness applies everywhere consciousness applies. It's so cool. But it's like, we express our gratitude for each other, and you express your gratitude with the people that you work with and the people in your life, and so do I. And it's like that, it's that gratitude is a creative energy. It's actually a generative energy. And so many people are like, oh, I don't want to be grateful for you because then that means you're greater than me. No, when you're grateful, it shows you how grateful, hello? It's in the word, at least in English. It might not be in Hungarian, but when you're grateful, it actually is an expression of how great you truly are. It's actually you being the greatness of your being. And when you do that with people, and not a huge amount of people are truly willing to receive it, but even if they're not, it still lightens something up and lightens something up in your world and makes it greater. Well, if we do that with our bodies too, there's a way that we can be with these amazing creatures where they show us that they can do way more than we have even been asking them to.
Wow. Okay. So I was.
So let's do what we came here to do. Let's talk about that little pocket rocket.
I think we kind of do that. Like we started. I don't want to stop you from saying whatever you offered to us today. So I have a question. Like, what was first, the class or the book?
No, the book actually.
Oh, really?
Because I was able to have, I think, I think I'm gonna, that's about a 70% percentage that I'm actually accurate. Because, a lot of people are like, oh, I did the class then and I did the book then. I'm like, I've done so much. I don't know when I did fucking anything, And for me, it's like, okay, what effects is it creating in the world? And people are like, what did you do in your past? I'm like, I don't remember 10 seconds ago. I don't know. But anyway, sorry, that's me and my ADHD. You would think I were on drugs, but I think if I ever took drugs, I'd probably slow down and that would be terrible. By the way, can we just thank the translators? Thank you
Yes.
for translating. Because could you imagine me having to say a sentence and then wait for a translation? Oh my, can you? Anyway, so what happened was I started realizing a long time ago when I first started doing Access, because I was a chiropractor and I was working with all kinds of people in their bodies. And then this energy called ESB showed up for me. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. Because part of the reason I hated being a chiropractor is because people would come and go, this hurts, make it go away. This hurts, make it, the thing that hurt last week and you made it go away? Well, there's another thing hurting this week, make that go away. And I was like, if I have to see another one of these people with this hurts, I'm going to shoot everyone. And anyway, it's a good thing I didn't have any guns. Sorry, puck and pot. That
Back
was bad.
then.
Puck and pot. Puck and pot. So what happened was, from the time of doing Access, I started realizing that the change I had always wanted to create in people's bodies that I would have some success with as a chiropractor, when I started using Access tools, I realized, oh my God, the same thing that will allow them to create their lives differently allows them to create their bodies differently. And I was like, oh my God. So I started having these different conversations based on what people would ask in class. And I started, how when you're exploring something, you gather this piece of information and this one and this one, and they all kind of sit here. You don't even realize they're there until somebody says, hey, what do you know about this? Or, hey, let's talk about this. And so I think actually the first one was a class, and it was a short, like an evening or something. And I went, oh my gosh, there's so much info here. But this class had, I don't know, however many people, 100 or 200 or something. I'm like, that's not nearly enough. Let me put this in a form so more people can have access to it, because our bodies have been screaming for many years to be acknowledged, to be cared for, to have us be grateful and have us interact with them differently. And so this was partially a response to that request.
Wow. I've been to your class just last year, and it was just the weirdest class I ever been to. It was just so different from, I've been to an ABC class, advanced body class with you in Mexico, and I did so many things, but this class was just something. I didn't even know what happened after class. I was like, well, I don't know what happened here. And it's just really different. What do you think? Why is that?
Because we think of our bodies as a particular thing. We've concluded so many things. We don't even, most of them are not even cognitive about what our bodies are and what their contribution is and what their job is and what they can do for us or with us. And our bodies are going, excuse me, dum-dum, I'm actually conscious. I'm not as stupid as you are. Everything that seems like a problem was created by you, asshole being. Okay, I've said fucking asshole so far. So anybody who has a judgment of those words, I truly apologize and pock and pod that, because consciousness includes everything, even my use of terrible, inappropriate words, and judges nothing, even my use of terrible, inappropriate words, and our bodies, by the way. I'm so playing. I love doing stuff, pushing people's little buttons, it's so fun. But so what happens is our bodies are actually showing us there are elements of reality itself that we can contribute to changing. And so you get to a body whispering class and you think, oh, we're going to just talk about bodies and changing bodies. And you start there, and then your body, and then it goes over here to money. What? It goes over here to ease. It goes over here to what you really need to have the awareness of to have your relationship work well. And you realize as you start going on that path and you start having that, if you look back after the fact, you're like, wow, my body feels a lot better with these choices that I'm making. And I thought it was about money, or I thought it was about my body. And you start to go, wait a minute, they're all interlinked. And my body has some dynamic awareness of everything. And I never thought it could, because I just thought it's a body, whatever that is. It's not. It's something way more awesome. We just have to find out what it is. We're the ones who get to explore.
Mm.
Like little
So,
kids.
So I was wondering, because at the beginning of the book, you asked the question like, "Are you a body whisperer?" And you know, you ask this in your class all the time, like, "Okay, hey guys, are you body whisperers?" And some people are like, "Yes, I am." Some people are like, I don't know what does that mean. I don't even know what
Yeah,
that means."
exactly.
And what that means to you, and why did you create this class? Because so what with me, I never thought I was one. I still oh Zazu, hello. Is
This is a different one. This
okay.
is a teenage boy who is just growing his long feathers. And it's so
Oh,
cute because he goes out there and he puts them up, you know, and they don't have any of the long things on them, but he's like,
yeah.
I'm beautiful. I'm a beautiful boy. You should see me. And you're like, oh, so cute. Anyway, sorry.
It's blue.
Yeah,
Wow.
that one's blue.
Beautiful. Wow. So back to my question. So one was that why did you name the book Body Whisperer, and what that means to you and what that means actually?
It means the willingness to hear the subtle communication, well, the actual communication that our body is giving us, and recognizing it occurs more like a whisper than a shout. And what we have all been conditioned to do is if we're trying to create something, if we're trying to change something, we believe we need to force it into existence. And our body is showing us it can be so much easier than that. And I liken it to a homeopathic. Like a homeopathic, and there are some great homeopaths in the world, right? And a homeopathic has, depending on the homeopathic, it might be like 1 part in 30. And the one that's 1 in 30, one part of whatever the thing is, right? And once it gets diluted, it gets diluted down to 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million. The one that's diluted to a million is far stronger, at least as I understand it, is far stronger than the one that's diluted by 30. And yet what we think, so we think we need these big forceful things to do, work out and eat, and yes, I run for 3 hours a day because I want to get a six-pack, and yet our body is showing us that there might be another way, that really has this gentleness that our bodies naturally have. And we live in a world of force. We live in a world of people shouting. We live in a world where our attention is always placed on ye who screams the loudest, or that which hurts the most. And our bodies are saying, I see you, and there are other choices. And if you'll just listen to the whispers of what I'm showing you, it can be far simpler than you ever imagined to create what you actually would like to have, what you actually would like to have.
You said something, I think, in the first chapter that because I feel it, so it's mine.
Yep.
That was like, oh my God, I have to write this down, but I had no time. So I was like, okay, I have to remember this because I have to ask you about this. Because most of the time, like I always assumed like, oh, my body hurts. This is mine. This is me. Something is wrong. Something that it has to be changed. Would you talk about that? Because people are on this book club. Someone took Barca, someone don't even took a Barca. So we are really a big range
Yeah.
of, you know, if it comes to access classes. But yeah, would you say something about that? Because it was like, even for me, who I heard this so many times, but I'm like, oh yeah, that's so true. I
Yeah.
feel it. I think it's mine.
Yep. And yeah, and I know, like even for me too, this is a journey that keeps on going because it's so non-logical. But the idea is if I feel it, it must be mine. I mean, of course, I'm the one feeling it. And yet what our bodies are showing us is that somewhere between 50 and 100% of the things that go on for them are things we're picking up on in some way from someone or something around us and having a point of view about. So the moment we say, I feel this, we've now owned it. Or the moment we say, like, I am tired. If we say, I am tired, like, try this. Next time you think you're tired, and I say, think you're tired on purpose. Next time you think you're tired, just go, truth, is this mine? And body, is this yours? Now, it may be, that's fine. That's not to say that nothing is, because you'll go through all kinds of different things all the time. We all do, and our bodies do. But if you ask, am I truly tired? And body, is this yours? If you wake up a little bit, you're actually aware of someone that is tired. I love how the peacock is accentuating my conversation. So he's like, listen to this one, people. I have a body too, but I listen to mine, you know? So, and so it's based on this idea that 98% of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are judgments, and 98% of the things we think we are having and feeling are actually awarenesses that we're having, that nobody's ever given us that reference point. And so with our bodies, like I had some dynamic things occur when I first started Access and got the tool, who does this belong to? Because I didn't really, I'm like, oh, what? Like if that were true, somebody would have told me before now. And that's one of the things we get a lot in Access is we'll say something like that and people just discount it because nobody's talking about it. I'm like, that might be why it will actually be effective for you, you know, might be exactly why it will be effective. But I got this tool, who does this belong to? And I had this guy in my chiropractic office that was in such intense back pain that he could barely move. He said it was like a 9 out of 10 on a pain scale. And I was able to get him to about a 3 or a 4. And he would leave and he would come back the next week. It would be 9 out of 10 again. And I told him, you need to go see somebody else. He's like, no, I don't. The reason I'm seeing you is because you're the only one out of all the idiots I've seen that can get me out of this much pain. And I was like, oh, crap. So anyway, I did my first foundation class and I learned an awareness, because several things in that class I used this tool on. I would be sad and depressed. I go, who does this belong to? And it would lighten up. Or I'd literally have a pain in my body. I go, who does this belong to? Is it mine? And it would start lightening up. I was like, okay. So I started having this awareness that this was a possibility. So next time he came in, of course, consciousness has an impeccable sense of timing. So he came in the week after I did foundation. And it takes him like 5 minutes to relax enough to lie down. And I said to him, hey, who does that pain belong to? From the other side of the room, he pushes himself up, turns around and goes, my wife. And I was like, did he just move? I've never seen the man move like ever, other than, I mean, it blew my mind. And he proceeded to tell me this story where his wife had hurt herself and hurt her back. And she was in such bad pain that she had to take morphine. Nothing else was getting rid of the pain. Okay. They tried blockers and whatever they tried, right? And she was limping past him one day with tears in her eyes. And he told me, he's like, oh my God, I can't believe you asked me that question. He said, I remember the moment when I was sitting there at the table and she walked by, and I thought to myself, I love this woman so much. I would do anything to get her out of pain. And it makes me cry, because imagine, just look at the caring in that. That's the world I would like to live in. Not where you take on people's pain, but a world where you have so much caring for another, right? And so, excuse me. And so this is the whole thing about body whispering. He had no idea he had any capacities at all. But what happened was, over the next week and a half or two, she started getting better. And over the next week and a half or two, his back started hurting and he didn't know what to do, and nobody was getting him out of pain. And so in that next hour, not only did he get out of 98% of the pain, but it never friggin' came back. Because part of the other thing that I did with him was I used some of my tools from my new foundation class. Access Foundation, Dr. Dain here reporting for duty. I'm ready to bring some consciousness to the world. Let's do it. I have tools. I don't even know what they are, and I don't know how to use them, but I'm going to try it on you anyway. I'm a doctor. Listen to me. Okay. So anyway, one of the other ideas that we had talked about in that class is that there are lots of people that we will make a commitment to healing, and we will do whatever it takes to try to take away their pain. And the weird part is, and back to your question about why body whispering, is because we have capacities to heal and change things for people. It makes no sense that we should, because a lot of us are not even in the healing profession. You know, we're mothers, we're fathers, we're engineers, we're, authors or whatever. But these are capacities we in our bodies have, most of us, and nobody's ever told us. Nobody's ever given us a roadmap for, how do I not be the effect of this? How can I actually use this? How can I use this for me and other people? to create a greater world for all of us.
What you just said, because this book is just so compact. There is so many information about what you can do with your body, how can you create with your body, and also the end of the book, like the second part of the book, is the whole book is about how you can use your capacities with other bodies or other people's bodies, and then the end you go, okay, and if you want to work with people, being a facilitator, like this is what you can do. It's just like so amazing, so many information for people. I would like to go back, because if you don't mind, a little bit, just at the beginning of the book, you were talking about being a body whisperer, and saying that this universe, like everything in this reality, even us, our heads are just so loud. Everything is just so loud, and we distract ourselves with many, many things. And our bodies and everything, like nature, everything is just quiet. It's just like it talks to you in ways that you have to a little like shut down a little bit everything else, what is so loud, to be able to hear what, like, the universe want to say, or your body wants to say. Would you say more about this? Like, how can you actually get to that point where you are able to listen, when you finally listen?
Great question. Well, it's kind of like, as you would know, and a lot of people would know, is like when you learn a new language, you know how like you'll hear whatever language you're trying to learn and while you're trying to learn it, you hear it and it sounds like, and you're like, am I ever going to actually understand this? All I hear is gobbledygook, 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 right?
This
But
is how
after
you
a
sound to
while,
me at the beginning.
I know you're like, yeah, you. Yeah, exactly. And so what happens is it's a similar thing, but it's actually easier than learning a new language. But it's learning the energetic language of our body. And so we start out and we're like, body, like, one of the easiest suggestions is ask your body for everything that concerns it. Like, body, what would you like to eat? Body, what kind of movement would you like to do? Body, what would be nurturing to you? Body, what kind of supplements would you like? What would you like to take today? Blah, blah, blah. All these questions, right? Well, you first start and you're like, body, what would you like to eat? And all you hear is like, but after a few times of asking, all it is really, rather than having to shut everything else down, we just have to shift our focus and awareness a little bit. All we have to do is turn our dial a bit, and we're all capable of it. And most people avoid it because it's almost like it would get too easy or something. We're not quite sure why we're avoiding it. Just is a thing that, most people suffer. It's fine. And so all we got to do is turn our dial a little bit and stop and recognize that we can go on this journey. We can do it too. And our body's like, I will help you. Don't you worry. Did I just do a weird emoji thing on the screen? Is
I think
that
so.
okay?
See, now it's working. Like before, we were doing the
I
hug.
know, right?
Can you do that?
Wait, I'm trying.
Ah,
See,
there you
you
go.
taught me how.
I know. Finally, I could teach you something.
So grateful.
I know. Wow, that's because for me, with everything in my life, basically, I realized that I was just distracting, sorry for my English, so distracting myself with everything, like even my body. As I told you so many stories, I was doing drugs, I was doing alcohol, I was like destroying myself to basically to death. I was like, okay, I'm gonna die. I can't do this any longer. Smoking, and it's just bad stuff to my body. And I realized, like, it was like how much of that belonged to me, how much was that me, like how much I wanted to shut off my awareness because it was just too much. Like it was like so too much for me, everything that I was perceiving, and I was destroying my body. And I see people doing that to themselves a lot, and our bodies are just taking it. No words, doesn't say anything. And for me at the beginning, I kind of perceived that something off with my body, and then it started to become louder and louder and louder, and at some point bad thing happens. But how can we, like, no one taught me to, like, to be with my body. Like it wasn't a thing. when I was a child. It was just, okay, this is what you just said in the book at the beginning, is like when kids, we don't let kids eat what they want. There's like, okay, you can't have ice cream because you have to have the soup and then the main and then maybe some desserts. And then we don't let the body and you don't let the kids just discover what they like. And we become this, you use this word, I really love it. You said, we become this autopilot something with our bodies. We don't even ask anything. And it's just, it was, that information was also amazing for me. I'm like, I'm kind of doing that still with my body. It's like, oh, it's morning, I have to have breakfast, so I have to have eggs because it's morning. Why don't you eat the leftover pasta from last night? And we avoid so many things. Like, what can we do, and how can we change this kind of, what you said, autopilot, like running our bodies on autopilot, and get back to ourselves and get a better relationship?
Well, here's the thing is how many people actually desire to. Most people are like, the only time they listen to their body is when there's a problem that hurts so much that they can't ignore it anymore. You know, and this is the thing about trying to invite people to body whispering, is that there's a quality of being alive that you can have with your body that is like you may remember when you were a little kid and your entire life wasn't about worry and problems, and your body invites you to it. Now, if you desire that, then continue listening. You know, it's like, and so we got to recognize, but here's the other part of even saying that, is that even if you're in that boat, you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty much true. I pretty much really don't care. I'm only here because I have a problem, or I'm only here because, you know, I think Nicolette is awesome and what else can I get? Or I'm only here because, like, there's so many reasons to be on this call and to be on the book club other than you and your body. You know what I mean? But here's the funny part, is that's usually our body making it happen anyway, tricking us into thinking that we're going to get all these other things, and it's really about that. And we don't find out, with so many things with our body, we don't find out after the fact that our body has tricked us into it. So we have to recognize that for the most part, if we're honest with ourselves, we don't tend to pay very much attention to our body. Now, here's the other part of that, though, is we shouldn't have to in the way that we think we have to. So we have all kinds of points of view about, oh, I must think about my body all the time if I'm going to be a body whisperer. Oh, this is a new problem I will tackle. Body whispering. I will be good at this eventually one day if I just use enough force, and if I just shut everything else out, I will, you know, say, oh my God, that's the same fucking thing. That's the same thing. That's the same thing. That's the same thing. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You know? So instead, be like, okay, how can I have this be easy? How can I have it be fun? And rather than looking at, oh, I'm so messed up here and I'm so screwed up there and I'm so unaware, and so who cares? The thing that matters is you're here. I'm having a bit of a vulnerable day. You're here making a different choice today. You know, like that's it. And like any new language you're learning, you're probably not going to be perfect tomorrow. But if you just have some kindness with you and your body along the way, your body will show you and you will show your body together. It's not just that your body has all the answers. It doesn't. It has the willingness to function from less conclusion, and you together can create a space of something different. And so I called it body whispering because our body does not create a problem until we have ignored it continuously about what's going on. And then it creates a problem because it knows that's the one thing that will get us to listen, either pain or disease or loss of function. Wow.
It's working.
Apparently, I don't even know what I'm doing, and I'm making shit happen. See, that's the miracle I'm talking about here, people. Okay, so if we can recognize that, then we go, okay, so maybe, maybe let's read the book. I mean, y'all are on the Body Whispering Book Club, so you probably read at least part of the book, or at least have heard about it. So what if we recognize what's true for us in our body makes us and our body lighter? And just start by number one, I usually say, number one, ask your body for everything that concerns it so you can start learning this language. But I would say start number one, anytime you notice a judgment or a yuck, stuck, what the fuck, anything regarding your body, just go pock and pot all that. Everything that is, destroy and uncreate, pock and pot. That simple. Or just pock and pot, pock and pot, pock and pot. And it's part of the clearing statement. Y'all know that because it was in the book. But it's like, let's use this stuff. And rather than assume we're going to get it wrong so we don't start, or assume we're already behind so we don't start, and rather than assume that we have to be perfect for it to work so we don't start, let's just start and have the joy and the adventure again. That's one of the other things most people have given up, is the adventure of being alive and the adventure of trying something new. It's so funny to me. The older people get, the less they're willing to do something new. Me, the older I get, the more new things I want to do. And people are like, yeah, but if I'm not good at it, I don't want to do it. I'm like, if I'm not good at it, I want to find out how I can get better at it if it's something fun enough to do. Like let's look from a totally different perspective of actually enjoying the journey. And I think that's one of the things that our body is inviting us to. And if we recognize that we have these areas where it hurts or we've got a disease or something, then let's ask some questions. There are lots of questions in the book that you can ask, like starting with, what is this? And just be with it. Hey, body, what is this? Oh, is it ours or did we buy it as ours? Like the guy with the back pain. Okay. Can we change it? And if so, how do we change it? What's it going to take to change it? Who can we talk to? What can we read? What resource do we require to know what to do to change this? It was interesting when I first worked with a lady who had breast cancer, because cancer is a significant thing, you can imagine. And this was a long time ago. This is when these awarenesses were starting to come, the ones that created the book. And I was like, okay. And Gary and I had been talking, and he had worked with somebody who had cancer. And the question was, what are you dying to get out of? And so here's this woman who's got breast cancer it was somewhat advanced. And her body was starting to not feel well in a lot of areas. And I went, what are you dying to get out of? And you ask somebody that question, and it can be like a smack, initially, because they're like, what? Me? I'm not. It's happening to me. Guess what, kids? There's very little, I would venture to say nothing, that happens to us without us having a point of view somehow. And that's not to make us wrong. That's to realize that if we have something going on that we would like something different, then we are the place we can start. And if we change our point of view, can change our reality, because your point of view creates your reality. Reality doesn't create your point of view. So I asked this lady and pock and potted over and over and over. And finally, after about probably the 15 or 20th time, I said, so truth, what are you dying to get out of? After she had relaxed and realized that it wasn't a wrongness. And she was like, I would actually like to look at this, because I realize if I'm creating this at this advanced degree, I am apparently wanting to get out of here. I went, yeah, and what if it's not wrong? What if it's the only choice you saw at the time? What if you're not wrong? What if there's a beautiful co-creation of you and your body? And she went, whoa, that's a weird perspective. I'm like, I know, but I'm weird, so it's okay. And she eventually went, wow, I am dying to get out of my relationship. And I was like, whoa. And I asked her, I said, how long ago did you leave the relationship? And she went, oh my God, 20 years. We've been married for 25 years. And I knew I wanted out then, and I didn't have the courage to do it. Whew, vulnerable day. And so here's her beautiful body saying, okay, well, you wanted out this long. Here's a socially acceptable way. And also, this person is going to have to pull out whatever caring they may have for you that they haven't shown, because that's what you need to do when somebody has cancer. Otherwise, you're an asshole. And all of these things you don't want to deal with anymore. You don't have to. So this is a choice. So the choice was either start creating your life, or you can end the life this body is having. And so when I look from that perspective, and it's so funny, because some of the simplest things that I say that are very simple to me, because every piece of all of these awarenesses I've gotten are from asking questions and working with people. None of this has come from some textbook somewhere, of scientists who have studied it, So some of the simplest things that I say that are so apparent to me, people think I'm crazy. That couldn't be the case and all that sort of stuff. And I get it. So if anything I say sounds like that, hey, I get it. And follow your knowing. Don't trust me, trust you.
Wow. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing. um, can we just go to the part of the book when you talk to people who are actually have capacities with bodies? The first question would be is, do you think each of us has the capacity to change things in other people's bodies and have the capacity to work with I would say work with bodies?
Well, depends on how you mean that. Everyone I have met, I'm not going to say everyone, I'm going to say probably 50-ish% of the population has a dynamic capacity to work with bodies energetically that's greater than what they know. So, but what I see is some of the people who have the greatest capacities have also, it's almost like if you could imagine a little kid who had no filters and barriers, like let's say they were just an amazing, I don't know, an amazing healer, for example, and they in their body just did it and they had no filters and barriers and they couldn't sort of direct it or know what was going on. You could, if they did it by taking the stuff on, you could imagine where they might take so much on because there's no filter that they're like, I hate this. I don't want to do this again. And one of our greatest abilities is to put up walls and barriers to stop things. And so some of the people I found that have the greatest capacities are actually people who think they have the least capacities because at some point they had such a great capacity, it seemed hurtful because nobody gave them this information we're talking about and they didn't know what to do with it. And by a way of surviving, they put up all kinds of walls and barriers. And now they're still doing it, but they're trying to stop it, but they also don't want to be aware of it. So they're also solidifying it because they're trying to avoid it. So many things. So I'm saying that because that applies probably to a lot of people that are part of the book club where you know there's something different. You're not quite sure what it is. You're not quite sure what to do with it. And you've noticed that your body doesn't necessarily like being around people so much. Why? Because your body is doing all kinds of things for all kinds of people. So and the one thing that sticks us is when we avoid that awareness.
Wow.
And when we try to pretend that we're normal and we don't do that and other people are healers and it's healing is not because you have a job title. Healing is what you and your body do as a contribution to our world.
You just talk about me. I am the one who, and I don't think I have a capacity. When I go to an SOP class, I feel like, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm like, I hope you can't see me. I'm always hiding behind. I'm like, okay, no, Dain is coming. Come on. Okay, I tried to do something. Okay, cool.
Let's look like I'm doing something.
Yes. and 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 yet I am the person who hides at home all the time, because sometimes when I go and do my thing and I leave my house and I go to the city, I feel at 12 that my day is done. I have to go home. I'm just done with this. And you said so many times to me that every capacity or every power you have, you don't acknowledge that will just mess up your life. And I'm wondering now, like, oh, maybe I have some capacities. I'm like, I'm a kind of person who will
Maybe.
facilitate, but do nothing with bodies. Like, that's for other people.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what I love about you saying this is everybody who is part of this that has been with you on this journey is like, she's crazy. She's an idiot. She's amazing. She just doesn't want to know it, which is great because they can also recognize in themselves where they don't want to know it and where it is plainly evident to those of us that can see you from the outside. And that was also part of why I wrote the book, because the book is you and you and you get to have these conversations with yourself and the acknowledgments that allow you to stop believing what you believed about you that is less than you and your body actually are.
I remember when I took the class, it was at the ranch last year, if I'm right. And I was like, why am I taking this class? Like, this class is not for me. Like, yeah, sure, I can go to a 3-day body class because that's a wellness for me. But like, this is an online. Like, why would I do this? Like, what do I do with this stuff? Like, I'm not a healer. I'm not this kind of person. I can talk, but like, I'm not doing anything with my body. And we just had an amazing BU class this weekend, and my body was just like destroyed. The end. Like it was just amazing to watch like how much my body changed during the class. And now I'm wondering, like, what did I do also with my body? Like, what do I do with my body? Do you think we can just, like, I don't even know what is my question about this, but you can do many things without saying a word. Like, you sit next to someone and just start. Can you talk a little bit about the fifth element? I think this is what we do, right? Also with our bodies, not just with our being. Yes. Wow. 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 I'm gonna cry now. Sorry. Wow. Hmm. Wow. You know what I see with people when what I realize with people, when the most problem they have with their bodies, the most capacity do they have with their bodies. It's not something that it's wrong. Do you think so also?
Yeah, and I was also answering your question, can somebody sit there and not talk and actually create a change in someone? The answer to that is yes. You do it all the time. And a lot of people that are watching do it all the time here also. And this is also part of the point, is to recognize that whoever you are, and regardless of what you have been brought up thinking about you as being insufficient or incapable, you are a beautiful gift and a contribution. And I'm talking to all of you, okay? And I do realize on a personal note how difficult it is to let that in when you've lived in a world of people who judge everything, including you, and they judge the people that have the most capacities the most, because you don't fit in the box. And at some point, a lot of you make a decision, okay, no matter what, I'm going to fit in the damn box. And from that day, you basically start being normal and dying. That's the day you start dying rather than living. Okay. Now, everything that brought up, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. And rather than being Hungarian and just looking at that part, let's try to be happy Hungarian and go, wow, that's a great awareness. Thank you so much. No more. I'm making a choice for something different. And when you say that thing about the fifth element is us trying to be where we are, let's say, implanted, if you will, for lack of a better word, or the conceptual idea that our job is to be an unsuccessful savior of humankind. And so we try to take away disease, we try to take away pain, we try to take away suffering, we try to take away unhappiness, we try to take away laziness, we try to take away craziness. And yet the programming is such that it doesn't actually work that way, because the only thing that truly creates a change in someone's world is their choice. Period. You can take it away temporarily, but as soon as they realize it's not there, they will recreate it. And then when you're committed to it, you will try then to take away the new, more solid, beefier version of what they just recreated. Because what you don't realize is people create these things for whatever reasons they do, but they create them for their own reasons. And if you take it away, they will hate you for it because they did not choose to let it go. And so here you are playing a tug of war energetically, and they keep adding more fat, hairy men to their side of the rope with the tug of war. And so now it's you and about 7,000 fat, hairy men pulling against you, and your body starts feeling tired and drained, and you're not sure you're not going to get sucked to the other side where you just go into full-blown disease. But it's because we have made the choice to make healing and saving them greater than enjoying us, as though we're somehow bad if we don't do that. And so we've got this continuous state of judgment going on that we're never doing enough and never being enough for people. And so we direct our bodies to take out as much as they possibly can from other people to try to make them happy, to try to change their lives. But the thing we're not doing, you would be far better off if you look at this logically for a moment. We would be far better off if we have this capacity. We must also have the capacity to turn it and turn it up in their lives. Why? Because people will not change until they suffer enough. I mean, look at how many things, let's all look really honestly for a moment, how many things we ignored until they hurt so much we couldn't ignore them anymore. And you want to think it's different for the people you love? You really think they're different? Or do they actually have to have more suffering than you would before they're willing to change it? And I'm not saying this so because all of this occurs energetically. What I'm trying to do is turn this 180 degrees so we can get out of the idea that we're wrong for not being able to heal people, and that we're wrong because our bodies hurt when we try to. Well, what if we're not wrong, and what if they're not wrong? And what if instead we've just been looking through a really skewed angle at what's actually going on? So one of the things that will occur when you facilitate, especially when you open up to a new level of vulnerability, which actually opens you up to a new level of potency and power. What happens is you and your body will do 100 times more than you could do a week ago sometimes. And then your body's like, what the hell just happened? And you're like, I don't know what happened. What happened? Did something happen? Did you see the train that hit us? You know? And so part of it is building the muscle and getting used to it. And part of it is going, okay, body, what did we do that I haven't acknowledged? Sometimes all our body needs is acknowledgement, because it is in a certain sense is having a symptom to try to get us to awareness. What if every quote unquote symptom your body has been showing you has actually been to get you to awareness? What if every single one, okay, body, what are you trying to show me here? And everything that makes me be so stupid I can't hear it, destroy and uncreate it, pak and pod. And instead of also like, I bring us back to, let's just enjoy the journey a bit. So if you have something like you had, where I did this class and whoa, but also you did it at our castle in Castle Borgone, which, did that change your body and your world and your awareness of what's possible at all?
Yes, I don't want to go to the gym anymore. I know what you want to say. You want to say, I'm so sorry, Nicolette. I'm so sorry. No, you are not. I don't want to go to the gym anymore. I used to go every day. Come on.
That was not a response that I was expecting in any way. That was awesome. See, but if you look at it, so look at this for a moment. Being at the castle changes things. It's got such a nurturing energy and such an elegant energy. And so also all the people that were part of your class are also going through some form of transformation. So you have the class at the castle. So you have class plus castle plus you plus everyone plus the universe. But whoa. I mean, if you look at it, what if your body is trying to get you to acknowledge how much you facilitated, how much change you and your body facilitated? Because one of the things I found after a class is my body is sometimes so tired, I totally get it. And sometimes it feels so tweaked. I'm like, I feel like a Picasso painting on legs. I'm like, hello, and people are like, hey, do you want to hang out? I'm like, no, Never again with anyone. Get out of my face, because it's so bizarre. But that's an acknowledgement of, and this is the beauty of all of this, is it's a beyond structured reality change that we have access to. So we don't have to try to live in the rightness and wrongness of the boxes and structures. And we don't have to be perfect. And every word doesn't have to be perfect. And every moment of energy doesn't have to be perfect. And there can be times where you're like, well, that just kicked my ass. I need to sleep for 3 or 4 days. Cool. Why is that wrong? Other than our own point of view that somehow it's wrong. What if our body is like, hey, you need to sleep because I need to sleep because we need to sleep because we change so much. Let's just have a little space to let that become our new reality.
Wow. That place just itself changed so much. It's just from the very first moment you step in, the change begins.
Yep.
There is no way back. And I've been there many times, but every single time it was just something has changed. And what you said about the elegance, it's kind of that what happened to me being more elegant with my body, meaning me being more quiet, relaxed, and just don't force my body to do things that I think it's supposed to do. And honestly, we just left the place and I wanted never go to the gym again. I don't say I will never go, but from that point of view or from that space that I used to, no,
Yeah.
no. It's just I
I
can't do that anymore to my body. It's just not working anymore. Wow.
what a great awareness. And if you don't have to attach a wrongness or a rightness, if you don't have to also conclude, this is my new, and you're not, I just want to acknowledge for people when they get a new awareness, they just sometimes try to conclude that as their new right reality, whereas what was before was wrong. And I know you're not doing that. I just want to acknowledge that there's certain experiences that we will have that will change the fundamental nature of every way in which we've been functioning. And what an amazing gift. And the thing is, I'm going to say this to you, and I'm going to say it to all of you who facilitate consciousness of any form. And I want to acknowledge that you create that for people. So you, Nicolette, create that for people. There are so many times where people who have come to your class, you have transformed the basis of what they know is possible.
Mm. Mm. Thank you.
Thank you for being it. And that's also why so many people are like, I want to do whatever Nicolette does. And I'm also not trying to put it just into that box. I want to acknowledge that part of the space of that.
Mm.
And part of me desiring to do this with you is because everybody else sees it to the degree they're willing to with you, and yet they don't necessarily see it with them. And yet they can also see, based on your humbleness and humility, that you may not see it for you, but they can see it that you do it. So maybe they can extrapolate that since they're not seeing it in a similar way to the way you're not seeing it, maybe it's occurring for them too.
Mm. Wow. Mm. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
Isn't it like consciousness? Isn't it amazing?
So
I,
amazing.
I'm
So
so
cool.
grateful to you. I'm just so grateful. Imagine me not speaking any English and just learning all of this to be able to listen to you. And now you're sitting here. It's just amazing to me.
It's so cool.
It's just
It just
amazing.
is so cool.
I'm
There's
so
so many
grateful.
gifts. I am so grateful also.
Yeah.
We could sit here and just have a gratitude fest, and it like
Yeah.
what a gift to have all of this presenting itself to us. And I like what somebody put, Nicolette is Miss Inspiration. Totally agree.
Thank
Totally agree.
you.
So cool.
It's thank you, Dain. I had many questions. I don't know what time is it. Oh, yeah, it's time.
It's about that time. Plus, you can tell that people you know that little emoji with the exploding head?
Yeah.
That's my sense of most people. Because the thing is, it's not just the words, you know?
Yes. I know that you have a body whispering class, and it's coming up. Yes, it's in Australia, so the time zone is amazing for us because it's gonna be at night, so we don't even need a day off from work. So
Right?
we're gonna put yes. So we are going to put all the details here in the chat and also in Telegram. So you guys, if you want to join Dain, you can do that live or online, both, right? This class is also online.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be both.
And you can get the book through all the Hungarian amazing people who are selling the book here. And also you can get it on Amazon, and also you can get it on, is it on Audible? No, I'm not asking this.
Yes.
So the book is on Audible because I was listening to it. Brain Dead. And thank you. I'm so grateful you made this, out of your schedule and just joined us for this book club. And we have another 6 amazing speakers for the next 7 weeks. So we're going to talk to, yes, every single week I meet someone, a Hungarian CF, and we're going to go through the book. You guys have to know, we're going to read from the book. We're going to talk about different topics, and they're going to share their own experiences. They all of them took a body whispering class with Dain, so they have even more experiences. And the end, we're gonna talk to Anna because she was the one, not only her, but translating the book. So we're gonna see her. She's gonna be the last guest. She's gonna share how was it for her to translate the book. And thank you, Dain. So grateful.
Thanks. Just having all these beautiful people come together and there's few greater gifts in the world. So I thank you, and I thank you all, and I'm so grateful. And I hope y'all receive a little hug of gratitude from me, please.
Yes.
Really.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So are you.
Thank you, Dain. And thank you all. Mwah.
I can do it. I can do
Me
it.
too.
Oh my God. I can do it.
Me too. Amazing. Thank you.
See you soon. Thank you so much.